ابتدا ہے ابھی تو کوفے میں، ابتدا ہے ابھی تو کوفے میں، تجھ کو ہونا ہے در بدر زینب، ہو گئی آہ بے پدر زینب، ہل رہا ہے مزار روتی ہے، ہل رہا ہے مزار روتی ہے، ماں کی تربت پہ کھول سے زینب، ہو گئی آہ بے پدر زینب، رونقیں اٹھ رہی ہے دنیا سے، رونقیں اٹھ رہی ہے دنیا کی، جا رہا ہے تیرا پدر زینب، ہو گئی آہ بے پدر زینب، اور محمد و محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for joining us on the night of the 20th of Ramadan, or 21st for the followers of Ayatollah Khamenei and others. And thank you Brother Muhammad Shahada, Brother Ali Asghar Manikiya for the beautiful recitation. If you don't mind, please invite Brother Said for the last poem of the night in Farsi with a loud salawat.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم، بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، وهو العلی العظیم، هو الاول والآخر والظاہر والباطن، وهو بكل شیء علیم، صدق اللہ العلی العظیم. اللہم صل علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم بإذن اللہ ورسولہ وبإذن مولانا امیر المؤمنین. السلام علیک یا فاطمة الزہراء، السلام علیک یا حجت ابن الحسن، صلی اللہ علیک یا ابا عبداللہ. روزه یعنی در خدا فانی شدن، در منای قرب قربانی شدن. روزه یعنی جنگ با دیو هوس، عقل را آزاد کردن از قفس. روزه یعنی پاک گشتن از گناه، نفس را انداختن بر قعر چاه. روزه یعنی با دمی آدم شدن، در مقام بیش بودن کم شدن. روزه یعنی دوری از اعمال بد، بر سر پیمان نشستن تا ابد. روزه یعنی از هوا خالی شدن، روزه یعنی بنده کامل شدن، بر حصار امن حق داخل شدن. روزه یعنی دوری از فسق و فجور، بهترین برگ عبور شهر نور. روزه انسان را خدایی می کند، قلب ها را کبریایی می کند. روزه از ما ترک زشتی می کند، اهل دوزخ را بهشتی می کند. روزه یعنی پیرو مولا شدن، در مقام بیش بودن کم شدن. روزه یعنی بیچارگان را سر زدن، خانه آوارگان را در زدن. روزه یعنی خیش را کردن سهیم، با فقیر و با اسیر و با یتیم. صلوات بر محمد آل اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد و عجل فرج. Imam Ali's last call for prayer, اذان آخر. طبیبا وا مکن زخم سرم را، مسوزان قلب زینب دخترم را. طبیبا کار من از درمان گذشته، آخ زده آتش زخم سرر این پیکرم را. آخ زد آتش زخم سر این پیکرم را. آخ طبیبا نسخه ننویسی که باید اجل برچیند امشب بسترم را. نسخه ننویسی که باید اجل برچیند امشب بسترم را. ببند آن گونه فرقم را که در قبر، ببند آن گونه فرقم را که در قبر، نبیند فاطمه زخم سرم را. نبیند فاطمه زخم سرم را. در و دیوار مسجد هست شاهد، در و دیوار مسجد هست شاهد که من گفتم اذان که من گفتم اذان آخرم را. که من گفتم اذان آخرم را. امان ای دل، امان ای دل، امان ای دل، امان ای دل، امان ای دل. السلام علیک یا اهل بیت النبوة، ذکرکم فی الذاکرین، اسماکم فی الاسماء، ارواکم فی الارواح. اللهم صل علی فاطمة و ابیها و بالها و بنیها و سر المستودع فیها بعدد ما احاط به علمک. صلوات بر محمد.
Thank you, Brother Saeed. Just a small notification. Throughout the program tonight, all the way to Iftar, there will be a table outside set up for Noor Academy. The school will be in session, inshallah, this year. We have the permits and everything else in order for it. So please don't hesitate to ask them questions, engage them, and see if you can, if you're willing to support, see how you can help set up the school for the coming years, inshallah. Brother Abbas, if you don't mind.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We didn't get a chance yesterday to formally introduce Shaykh Rizwan, so I just wanted to take a minute. He needs no introduction, obviously. He's visited us several times, but just a few things, just to kind of officially recognize. Shaykh Rizwan is a graduate of Princeton University, where he studied evolutionary biology. Then he went off to Qum, spent many years in Qum studying. He, when he talks, you get the idea that he's setting the bar very high, and that's because he sets the bar very high for himself as well. He's not only the founder of Islamic Literacy, Islamic Text Institute, under which he has published 8 titles. All these titles are available. This is original work that he has done. And because I distribute the books on his behalf, whenever his name is mentioned, they say, oh, his standard is so high. And so he's known amongst scholars of a very high caliber that he sets for himself a very high bar. He lives in Chicago, Illinois, which means that he's a faculty member of the Islamic seminary over there, Maulana Faizi's Baytul Ilm Institute. They have a Hawza, and he is a faculty member of the Hawza over there. He also helps his parents run a farm, so he's multi-talented. And this is why, when he talks about subjects, it's a broad spectrum that he talks about. He's blessed with 6 children, and we've known personally at a family level, we've known Shaykh Rizwan for many years. So it's an honor, it's a privilege to have him here, to host him here, and inshallah we benefit from him. So please recite a loud salawat and move forward, inshallah. Please. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات We're gathered tonight for the second in these 3 majalis for Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullahi alayhi. And I set the topic for these discussions that I'll be sharing with you over the next few nights until the end of the month of Ramadan. I want to talk about different companions of the Prophet and the Imams. And there's a lot of movement. It's hard for me to focus if there's too much movement and all of this. So please, if you all settle down and go ahead and move forward and sit forward. That way we don't have to stop in the middle to make room for the new people. إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم. Please. صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد. So we're going to be speaking about different companions of the Ma'sumeen, and the goal is to try to learn what does it mean to be one of their companions? What does it mean to be their supporter? We claim to be Shia, and the meaning of Shia is that we are followers. And we need not only the Ma'sum as that role model for us to emulate, but we need their most outstanding companions to see what does it mean to be a supporter and a follower of the Ma'sum. And from then we can learn how we should be, inshallah, with our Imam al-Hujjah. Salamullahi alayhi. The companion that I want to speak about today, yesterday we talked about Uthman ibn Hunayf, one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Today I also wanted to speak about a companion, and you'll raise your eyebrows, I want to speak about Talha ibn Ubaidullah at-Taymi. So you might think, well, Are we talking about companions that we can look up to and we can emulate? Talha was the one who fought against Imam Ali at the Battle of Jamal and died fighting against Amir al-Mu'mineen. What can we learn from him? His example, I think, actually is very instructive. You're familiar with Luqman al-Hakim. Right, we have a surah, also Surah 31 is named after him. There's some advice in the surah that he gives to his son. And we actually have quite a bit of his advice documented in ahadith. This Darul Hadith in Qum has actually compiled a whole volume of all of the hikam, all of the advice and admonishment that Luqman has given to his son from Quran, a few things, and then from ahadith, the vast majority. So one of the things, someone asked him, كيف تعلمت الحكمة? And where did you learn this hikmah that you become hakim, you become a wise man, known for your wisdom? Where did you learn this? And what's his answer? Min al-juhal, from fools. And he learned his wisdom from seeing people who lacked that wisdom, who were fools, who were ignorant, who were ignoramuses. He says, whatever I saw that they did, whatever faults I saw in them, then I learned that that's something to avoid. And I went in the opposite direction and I got to my wisdom. So sometimes we have models that are positive models and we say, that's what I want to be, and we try to emulate that and we become better because we emulate the positive models. And sometimes we see examples of what we don't want to be, what we can identify as wrong and false. And that's also very instructive as long as we do i'tibar, as long as we take that as an ibra, as a lesson, and we learn the right lesson and don't emulate, but rather we avoid. So Talha ibn Ubaidullah, he's Taymi, he's Qurashi, he's from the same clan of Quraysh as Abu Bakr. They're both from Taym. Taym is one of the clans, like we have Banu Hashim, Banu Umayyah, so Taym, Adi, these are all different subgroups within the Quraysh. I want to lay out some of his track record, some of his virtues, some of his accomplishments. Because if you look at his timeline, he lived something like 53 or 63 years, if I'm not mistaken, when he died at the Battle of Jamal in the year 34 of the Hijrah. Right? And of those 53 years, for instance, right, of those 53 years, 51, if he had died at that point, we would have praised him as one of the really loyal Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Someone who stuck it through thick and thin, stuck with Rasulullah, stuck with Amir al-Mu'mineen against Saqifa, was willing to draw his sword in defense of the Khilafah, in defense of Amir al-Mu'mineen's right to Khilafah, against the Ashab al-Saqifa. And only because Amir al-Mu'mineen said, no, go ahead and give bay'ah, did he give bay'ah. Otherwise, he was willing to die fighting to defend Amir al-Mu'mineen against the people who launched the coup of Saqifa. And throughout the 25 years of the Khilafah of the other Khulafa, also he was one of the Hawariyun. We even use that term to describe him. Hawariyun, we use that for Isa alayhi salam's disciples, his companions. The Hawariyun of Amir al-Mu'mineen were these people who stuck by him through thick and thin. And Talha is one of those. So we're told that he was one of the very early converts to Islam. He's Qurashi, he's in Mecca, so he knows Rasulullah from even before. And some of the seerah writers say he's number 6. Abu Dhar is supposed to be number 5, and those who accepted Islam, Talha is number 6. As-sabiqun al-awwalun, this verse I recited from Surah At-Tawbah, praising these people who were as-sabiqun, these people who were the very first, and joining a movement when the movement has no certain future, requires either blindness maybe, or an incredible perspicacity and wisdom and commitment to that principle that movement is standing for. To say, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but I believe in this. And from day one, I'm willing to be with this and support it. That person who can be that kind of first pioneer in supporting something, that is an incredible virtue. And so Talha is one of those pioneers. As-sabiqun al-awwalun min al-muhajirin. This is him. We're told that after the hijrah, in the precursor to the Battle of Badr, so just a quick backstory of the Battle of Badr, Rasulullah had been flexing his muscles. This new government has been established in Yathrib, and until now, the Quraysh have total hegemony. They are the superpower of the Arabian Peninsula, uncontested. Everyone bows to them. They have cultural, linguistic, any kind of tribal lineage, every kind of superiority you could think of in the Jahili mind, the Quraysh have it. And every other tribe bows to that they are a step above everyone else. And now Rasulullah is trying to topple that hegemony, and one of the important ways that he does this is to send military expeditions to kind of, at very least, fluster the Arabs, fluster the Quraysh, if not actually attack, if not actually cause a little bit of damage here and there. So we're told in the Seerah literature that before Badr, there were about 8 of these military expeditions that Rasulullah sent under the command of different people. And there are many reasons why he did this, and this is one, to flex his muscle and say, we're here, and you have to contend with us. If you look at the map, Mecca is in the south and Medina is to the north. And they're both relatively close to the coast. Tihama is the coastal region on the western coast of Arabia. That's the trade route. The ancient, what's known as the incense route, where they traded frankincense and myrrh that came from Sana'a in Yemen. I think we had a Yemeni brother yesterday. I don't know if he was Yemeni himself or he just recited poetry from Harith ibn A'war al-Hamdani. So this incense route came from Sana'a, from what was known as Ma'rib in the ancient days, up the western coast, and Medina was one of the stops on this incense route that ends up in Gaza. Gaza was the ancient seaport of the Mediterranean where this route ended, and it was a thriving port city. And so the Meccans, on their Rihlat al-Shita'i wal-Sayf, in the Sayf, when they would go north to Syria, they had to pass by Medina. And so this was Rasulullah, by flexing his muscle, by attacking, by surveilling these caravans, he was able to show the Quraysh that you have to contend with us. You can't just ignore us. We can attack you whenever we want to. If you don't make peace with us, if you don't acknowledge our presence, then we can cause a lot of trouble to you. Where we can hit you that will matter is in your pocketbook. The caravan was an important part of that hegemony. And so he sends out these skirmishes. Most of them are unsuccessful, these 8. Unsuccessful from a military perspective. Many of them missed their target. They were going to surveil, they were going to attack, and by the time they got there, the caravan had already passed and they missed the boat. But because the purpose was something larger, what happened, for instance, was that the tribes in that area, the nomadic tribes who occupied that area, they observed all of this and they were impressed that this new upstart government in Medina has the guts to stand up to Quraysh. If they can do that, then we better align ourselves with them. And so Rasulullah is able to extract multiple agreements with these different tribes and alliances with these tribes, and all of a sudden there's a shift in the whole power structure of Arabia. Because now people are looking to Yathrib and saying, okay, we need to align ourselves with them because they are strong enough to attack Quraysh. It's no longer good enough just to be aligned with Quraysh. If we're with Quraysh and then this government seems like we're going up, then we're going to be their enemy. We don't want to be their enemy. Let's align ourselves with them. So everything starts to change because of this. So one of the skirmishes is to attack the caravan of Abu Sufyan, which is heading north from Mecca to Damascus. And when this contingent goes out to meet the caravan, they miss it. But the good thing is it's a return journey home. And so Rasulullah sends out 2 individuals to act as scouts, to just camp out on the caravan route and wait for the caravan to come back. And when it comes back, send word to him so now he can time himself better and launch an attack on this returning caravan from Damascus. So who does he choose? Talha ibn Ubaidullah at-Taymi and Zayd ibn, I've forgotten the name of the other person, it's slipping my mind right now. So these two are actually brothers. The Prophet did the Aqdul Ukhuwa, this covenant of brotherhood. He created a alliance between these two individuals, and he sends them out as scouts. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali. So my point is that this is Talha is someone that Rasulullah counts on for this kind of work. They go and they camp out for several weeks, and then finally when they receive word, they quickly rush back to Medina to give word to Rasulullah. They're coming, so he can time his movement best. Rasulullah, in the meantime, after sending them out, he ended up moving preemptively before he got word. Because he has some suspicions and he got some other messages. So it ends up not being effective. Talha's message comes a little bit too late. Rasulullah has already moved towards Badr. And then Badr itself, you know the story. But that gives you a sense of the fact that Rasulullah counted on Talha. He was someone that he could rely on for this kind of important mission, and he played that critical role. Because of this, in the aftermath of Badr, there were several individuals, about 8 or so individuals, who were not present in Badr, but whom Rasulullah gave a share of the booty to. When the war is fought, then those who are muqatil, those who are on the battlefield fighting, risking their lives and putting up all the capital that they require to be able to fight, those people are entitled to this the spoils of war. Once the khums is taken out, and Badr khums was not taken out, but it was legislated in the aftermath of Badr. But going forward, the khums would be taken out and given to Rasulullah to dispense with as he saw fit, and the 4/5 were distributed amongst the muqatilin, those who fought. And so only the people who came, Badr was a volunteer movement. Rasulullah said, when I attack this caravan, who volunteers? These 313 people volunteered. And so those who volunteered and laid down their lives, then they received a share. 2 shares for those with horses. Right? So Zubayr, for instance, Ibn Awam, he had a horse, so he got an extra share for his horse. Miqdad also had a horse, so he got an extra share for his horse. Mirthad ibn Abi Mirthad also. So 3 horses or 2 horses, depending on different reports. Talha was not there because he was a scout, but Rasulullah honors his role because it's not only the people who are on the battlefield who are part of the battle. There are people who are support, critical support for the success of the battle. They are also considered muqatilin, mujahideen, and they also get a share. So for instance, Abdullah ibn Maktoum, whom Rasulullah left behind in Medina and said, you are the mu'adhin, and your job is to give adhan while I'm gone. So he's now appointed for this particular purpose. Or Abu Lubaba ibn Abdul Mundhir, who he puts in place as his regent. So while I'm gone, you are in charge of all the affairs of the masjid and any problems. So you're in charge in my absence. So these individuals that he left behind with these particular tasks, so he can leave and participate in this battle, he assigns a share to them as well. They get their share of the booty of Badr. So Talha ibn Ubaidullah also receives his share. So this gives you some indication of his caliber, his status. In the Battle of Uhud, going a year later, the 3rd year of the Hijrah, in the Battle of Uhud, you're familiar that the battle went very well at first, and then because of a weakness in the defensive line, these Rumah, these archers who had been put in place on Jabal al-Rumah, who got greedy and decided to leave their post and go after the booty, because they saw what happened at Badr and how much booty was collected. They were excited. They wanted to get the booty. They saw the Quraysh are fleeing, so they left their post. That led to a total disaster and a flipping of the turning of the tables in the battle, and the Muslims are routed. When they are routed by the forces of Khalid bin Walid, what happens is that the Muslims now flee. And when the Muslims flee, the only ones left to face the enemy, Rasulullah, of course, doesn't flee. He's there. And there are just a handful of people who are able to have the courage to stay by his side and defend his life now. It's no longer about any sort of chance of victory. It's just defending Rasulullah's life against this onslaught of this army. As there are only a handful of individuals who stayed behind, the ones who are unanimously accepted by our historians as having stayed behind, because there's some people, sometimes when you have an honor like this, then people are inserted, their names are also inserted into the list that, oh yeah, maybe I was there too, and then other people make claims that they were there when they weren't necessarily there. Of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen was at the top of the list. Nobody has any doubt that he was there till the end, fighting for Rasulullah's life, defending him, and he incurred multiple wounds. We're told up to 70 wounds on his body in defense of Rasulullah on that day. The brother of Uthman ibn Hunayf, about whom we talked yesterday, Sahl ibn Hunayf, he was one of the ones who stood by Rasulullah's side. And then Talha. Right, so Talha was one of those. He had that kind of caliber against all odds, a whole army, and you have 3 people, 4 people just trying to defend Rasulullah's life and get him safely to some place. And Talha is one of those. In fact, we're told that at one point he's trying to defend Rasulullah, and he defends him with his body, and he ends up getting either his finger or his hand injured. It doesn't seem like it's cut, but it's injured in such a way that it becomes paralyzed. And so he became known as Ashal, kind of the lame, the cripple, after that, because he incurred this wound in the Battle of Uhud. All right, so this gives you a sense of who he is. I already alluded to the fact that in the aftermath of Saqifa, he's one of the people who comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen with his weapon on his side, and he comes to the house of Fatima and Imam Ali and says, tell us what to do. Our swords are ready. In the ranks of Salman and Abu Dhar and Miqdad and Ammar and Bara ibn Azib and Khuzaymah ibn Thabit. So these individuals who stood by Rasulullah's side, Talha, Zubair, were also amongst those. Willing to risk their lives, lay down their lives, sacrifice their lives in defense of what Rasulullah had expressly told the Ummah, that Man kuntu mawla fa aliyun mawla. Then what went wrong? Right, so we said in the beginning, for those who have joined us, that sometimes we can learn very instructive lessons from seeing a negative example. And so far what I painted is a very positive example, obvious courage, devotion, understanding of what's right and wrong, standing with right, always against wrong. So great qualities in Talha ibn Ubaidullah. At some point during this 25 years of the Khilafah being usurped and shifted from person to person, Talha seems to develop a sense of entitlement. He stops seeing himself only as the defender of the truth and the supporter of the truth and the Shiri of Ali, and he starts to see himself as somehow also entitled. Where's my payment? What do I get? And once he starts thinking about what do I get, that's the beginning of the end for him. Even in terms of bay'ah, just the last piece of his loyalty, the bay'ah to Imam Ali alayhi salam, he's one of the first. After Uthman's death, one of the first to give bay'ah, one who's been by Imam Ali's side, Talha and Zubair. They give their bay'ah first to him. And that seems to be the end of their loyalty, because at that point now they feel entitled. Oh, we've supported you through thick and thin. We've risked our lives for you. Now, where's our share? And they want, appointments to major cities, because being the governor of the Khalifa in a city means great power, also great wealth. And they feel like it's about time that we got something for all of our sacrifices. Imam Ali doesn't honor this, meaning he doesn't see that they're worthy of these particular posts. He can't rely on them anymore because he sees the selfishness that's motivating them. Maybe he sees that now there's something different about their loyalty. It's no longer selfless. Now there's some egoism there. And so he doesn't give them what they want, and they begin conspiring. They had actually been, by all accounts, they were probably some of the ones who were involved, maybe even directly involved in the killing of Uthman ibn Affan. When Imam Ali was trying to defend his life and he's sending Imam Hassan and Hussein to defend him, and these individuals were actually perpetrating the murder against Amir al-Mu'mineen's wishes, perhaps thinking that they were doing their man a favor by wiping out his enemy. They now become the avengers of Uthman, whom they had a hand in killing. They join up with the Umayyads, Marwan and his lot, and Aisha, and all of these together raise the flag of vengeance for the killers, against the killers of Uthman. And of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen, they don't accuse him of directly being involved, but they accuse him of not doing what's necessary to bring the perpetrators to justice. And the irony is just too much because they are the perpetrators, but they claim that we did tawbah. But what about the rest? So on these flimsy kinds of accusations, they launch a revolution. Before they leave Medina, there's a famous conversation that happens. They go to Imam Ali because they want to make their base in Mecca. That's where Marwan is. That's where they feel like they can gather their forces and plan together what to do. So Aisha is there, Marwan is there. And so then they come to Amir al-Mu'mineen, having already given the bay'ah, and they say, we want to go to Mecca for Umrah. And Imam Ali utters his famous sentence. He says, "Ma turidan al-umrah, bal turidan al-ghadra." I see through you. It's not Umrah that you're going to Mecca for. It's for treachery. And they say, they pledge and say, no, absolutely not. How can you accuse us? We've been loyal friends all these years. And they swear. He makes them double down and swear. He makes them reissue their bay'ah to him. And he says, did you give your bay'ah willingly or having been coerced? They said, no, not coerced, willingly. He says, then give it again. Like right here, before you leave, give your bay'ah again. And they give it again. And immediately after that, they go out and they claim that no, our bay'ah was not willingly, it was coerced. So very precipitously, Talha and Zubayr, Talha is who we're focusing on, he goes from that kind of caliber of companion to the point where he is now the instigator of this rebellion against the Khalifa of all the Muslims that he himself promoted and gave bay'ah to, that all the Muslims have unanimously given bay'ah to. And they go to Basra, they launch a war, they expel Uthman ibn Hunayf, whom we talked about yesterday, torture him. Some reports say they pull out the hair of his beard. And they fight a war against Amir al-Mu'mineen. And Talha, again ironically, maybe a irony upon irony, in the midst of the battle, who kills him? But Marwan ibn al-Hakam. He is the cousin of Uthman, and he knows that Talha is most guilty of this, and he can't drop that grudge, even though they're allied for some common purpose of treachery against Amir al-Mu'mineen. But now that he sees that's not going to happen, we're going to lose the battle, at least he says, after today, I no longer want to feel this burden of vengeance against you. And so he picks up a bow and arrow, and from the back he shoots on Talha ibn Ubaydullah and kills him. So that's the end of this individual. Very quickly, we don't have much time before we end, but I think one of the important things to take away from this story is how can this happen, and how can we make sure it doesn't happen? Because we want to be that companion who sticks it out till the end. We don't want to be the companion who is there at some point, loyal, and then abandons last minute. And we have so many examples of this. In the Quran itself, we have at least the chief of the examples for this. 6,000 years of sajda, I mean, what he says, I don't know if it's sajda, I mean, days of this world or some other world, but 6,000 years in one sajda, rising to the level of the angels, and then we know how he ended up. Bal'am ibn Ba'ura, not named by name, but his story is told in Surah Al-A'raf, loyal to Musa alayhi salam, mustajabu da'wah, someone who prays and his prayer is answered because he's so in line with Allah and so spiritually high, whenever he makes dua, it's answered. And then he turns against him and aligns with Pharaoh. Qarun himself, in Surah Al-Qasas, the story of Qarun is told. He was a loyal Shi'i of Musa, a Jew himself, a loyalist, very faithful. But then his wealth and the source of his wealth deceives him. He starts to think that I've worked hard for this is all mine. And he forgets about Allah as the source of all bounty. And we know his end. So we have so many examples in the Quran itself. Now we have examples in our history as well. What leads to this? How can you have such a precipitous fall from one end of the spectrum to the other? There are many causes. I mean, a couple that I think are important. One, I think, is internal. There are certain internal things that we can have within ourselves. Definitely arrogance, selfishness. Right? If I start to think of myself as something, a good follower is someone who is very clear about what truth and falsehood is, who's steeped in knowledge and understanding, but who also has that deference to the authority of his commander and his leader. A good follower. I think of these individuals like Malik al-Ashtar is a wonderful example. Miqdad ibn al-Amr, his statement in the Battle of Badr, leading into the battle, sorry, not Battle of Badr, Battle of Badr. His statement is a statement of someone who is wise and understands the truth and is completely devoted to his commander. He says, we are not like the Bani Israel who said, "Idhab anta wa rabbuka faqatila inna hawna qa'idun." You and your God go into Jerusalem and fight. We're going to sit here and wait. He says, no, we say, "Idhab anta wa rabbuka." You and your God go. Inna ma'akuma muqatil. We are right with you, fighting every step of the way. He has this kind of declaration of his commitment to Rasulullah. That's not blind commitment. I want to get away from that. That's not like, whether you do good or bad, I will support you. No, not good or bad, I'll support you. I recognize that what you are doing is good. Everything you stand for is good. I recognize who you are, and that's why I support you. It's with eyes fully open, seeing the righteousness of that leader and the righteousness of the cause, to then recognize your own place as a supporter of that. Now that I know this is a righteous cause, whatever you need me to do, I will do it. Because I know what you tell me to do is good. If it might be a prominent role where I'm in public and I'm speaking and people see me, it might be behind the scenes. So what? If that's contributing to the overall success of this mission, I believe in the mission. If I do something that no one recognizes, it's even a dirty job, and there's no prestige in it, I don't care as long as it contributes to the success. As long as this guarantees me my place in paradise, that's the level of selfishness we're allowed to have. Selfishness for paradise, selfishness for attaining stations in paradise, that kind of selfishness is actually channeling self-centeredness into its rightful path, which is for the sake of God's pleasure, not selfishness for dunyawi acclaim and honor and these kinds of things. So that arrogance and self-centeredness is one of the things that leads to their demise. They start thinking about themselves, what's in it for me, but I'm also important. I've been doing all this. Where do I get my payment? What about my recognition? I've supported you all this time. Now, transactionally, where is my end of the bargain? Those kinds of thoughts, when they creep in, then that leads to this. The other important factor, I think, is your associates and friends. Who you are with can take you, if you get in with the wrong crowd, that can completely change everything about your life. Like who you associate yourself with, the kind of people you are with, the kind of people you work with and associate with and socialize with, the kinds of ideas you're exposing yourself to. We have to be very real about how critical that is in our own stability and our own clarity of thinking. It's really foolish to think that I can mingle with these people at school, I can mingle with these people at work, I can socialize with them, and somehow I can remain untarnished by their wrong ideas. It is not possible. You have to be able to recognize the danger of associating with people whose ideas are anathema to your own right ideas, correct ideas. In terms of friends, the best rule of thumb is always build friendships up. If you can, manage to find people who are better than you, that you admire, that you would aspire to be like, and associate with them, be friendly with them. They will lift you up. If you have people who are less than you, then they have to be willing to come up to your level. But they shouldn't be people who are pulling you down and pulling you away from the truth. Even the kinds of things you expose yourself to in this environment, sometimes people are very foolhardy and they think that I can read anything. There's a book by a powerful atheist who really has really convincing. I can expose myself. Let me go ahead and read it. Let me expose myself to it. I won't be swayed. I'm strong in my faith. There's a debate between an atheist and a believer. Let me listen to it. Let me expose myself to everything. The truth will shine. The truth will come out. I'm strong enough to recognize the truth. It doesn't work like that. False ideas can be very convincing. Seeing the clarity through the fog is very, very challenging. It's very, very difficult. And we are not called on, in fact, we are explicitly forbidden to expose ourselves to false ideas. In our fiqh, even just one example of this, in our fiqh, we have this idea of kutub al-dalla or kutub al-dalala, books of misguidance. It's haram to buy and sell and trade in books of misguidance. That's just one example. Now you can expand that to all the other kinds of media that we consume. But if I was a bookseller, for instance, it would be prohibited for me. It would be haram money if I stock and sell books that advocate wrong ideas, that advocate for other religions, to sell the Bible, to sell a book that's, where a Christian or an atheist or any other follower of any sort of idea or religion that's false is advocating for their ideas. It would be haram for me to sell. It would be haram for you to buy. We've lost sight of that very important rule. It's a shari'i rule. But sometimes we very boldly expose ourselves. Let me listen to any lecture, listen to any debate, read any book, engage with any sort of discussion on social media, not recognizing how vulnerable we are. If these kinds of people, if Talha and Qarun and Bala'am and Iblis himself, who were at that height of spirituality, it wasn't that they were fooling everyone, that they were hypocrites and it just didn't come out. And if these people had died, Talha had died 1 year before, he'd be in paradise. We'd be celebrating him now, as one of the, like Salman and Abu Dhar and Talha, would be included in the ranks of those people. So it wasn't that there was nifaq in him and he was covering it up, it was some conspiracy. He was sincere in his guidance, but very precipitously he changed inside. And those kernels of arrogance and self-interest dominated so much that he lost his footing, he lost his grounding in the truth, and he was able to rise up against his own Imam and aim to try to kill him. So we should take a lesson from that. I don't even think it might be foolish to claim that I have the faith that Talha had, the devotion, the courage that he had. So if I am weaker than him, then I should be much more careful not to fall into the same trap that he fell into, and to stay as much as I can on guidance, protect myself by not exposing myself foolishly, not throwing myself in the deep end when I don't know how to swim, not exposing myself to sickness when I'm not properly inoculated, right? Not exposing myself to ideas when I'm not even grounded enough in the truth that I would be able to very clearly see what's true and what's false. At very least, hold on to someone's hand. Someone who is wiser, someone who's more knowledgeable, and say, look, this is something that's around. People are talking about this. I see that it's a very controversial thing. My local Shaykh, my elder, someone in the family who has a good footing, help me to navigate this. And so together, then you can slowly expose yourself and read about those things so that you can inoculate yourself, so that you can stay grounded while you understand what's going on around you, what people are talking about, and know how to resist it, what the pitfalls are in that ideology. So you're exposing yourself in a wise way, like carrying a life vest into the deep end or holding on to a teacher's hand as you go into the deep end, and learn how to now swim in the deep, rather than just throwing yourself in with no skills at all and saying, hopefully I'll survive. Allah, we ask you to shower your mercy and blessings on Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. Have mercy on us. Guide us constantly. Don't allow us ever to veer from the path into our dying breath. Help us to follow in the footsteps of the best of Ma'sumin's companions and to avoid the pitfalls of those who failed. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Jazakumullah, Shaykh. Thank you so much for the amazing speech and the guidance. We'll be moving on to the fundraiser aspect of the part of the program. It will be a short 10-15 minutes. Then we'll move on to Musibah and Latmiya, followed by, of course, prayer and iftar. With that said, please give a lot of salawat to Radasha.
So, brothers and sisters, if I could have some volunteers, both on sister side and men's side. Sister side, I can slip it on from there. Okay, so I think we're good on the men's side. Let's get some more on few on sister side. Everyone, if we can move forward, we need some space in the back. Sister side, if somebody could take those cards at the front with some pens.
Brothers, move forward, please.
So, brothers and sisters, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the Holy Quran, Allah reminds us in Surah Hadid, who is it that will lend to Allah a good loan which Allah will multiply many times over for them, and they will have an honorable reward. So it's our opportunity here to help our center. It's run by your support, by our community support, and as Shaykh was saying in his speech, it provides us an opportunity to meet with Mu'mineen and stay within the company. So it's so any support we give towards center counts us towards our akhirah as well. It makes our akhirah. So we have I have two news for you. One, let's start with the good news. So we have a target of $35,000, and we have already collected $2,900. A big salawat for all those who have donated. So now a better news. So better news is instead of 35,000, we have to collect 32,000 tonight. So and as a bonus, you don't have to see me anymore if we collect it tonight. So let's start off with that. So first, and make sure on the slips, please write down your names. So I have your name if we need to, and you can also pay through. You can also pay right now through a link. There's it's already posted out there with the QR code. So let's start. And we'll not name any names here. So just be rest assured, everyone will be anonymous. So the first one is $50. Salawat. 200. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 200. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Yeah. 300. Allahumma salli ala. 200. Allahumma salli ala. 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Anyone who hasn't gotten the card on the sister side, if you need more, please let us know. We can provide you more. On the man side, please collect all that haven't been. 350. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 200. 100. Allahumma salli ala. 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 100. 250. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 100. 1,000. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Anything on the sister side? 150. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 100. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 100. And any more cards that are coming in? Right now we are at 8,300. $1,000. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. 100. 100. 20. Allahumma salli ala. 400. 500. 10. On the sister side, I've not received many cards yet. Do we have enough? Anyone on the sister side who hasn't gotten the card yet? Idea is to involve everyone here, do whatever you can, no matter little or big support. Everyone is, every dollar counts here. All right, 100. 50. 200. 100. Okay. 50. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. 10. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. 1,000. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. So any more cards? 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad li Muhammad. Another 500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. 13,440. Any more? You'll probably have to see me more if we have a $35,000 target here. So there's one card in the back. $500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Okay, so 13,940. How much time do I have? Can I use all of the time? No, I won't use it. So another one, $2,000. اللهم صل على محمد وآل. All right. So I think we'll end with this one tonight, but I'll probably ask for more tomorrow. Come prepared. 7,500. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Big salawat for all the donors. Inshallah, we'll continue the program.
Thank you so much, Brother Asher, and honestly, thank you everybody for this. Our programs, everything here has a cost. Unfortunately, we live in the U.S., everything comes with a cost, and we hate to go about it this way, but ultimately we have to keep the lights on, we have to keep the programs going, inshallah. And yes, alhamdulillah, it's a great way for, it's sawab for the Shaykh to lead us, it's sawab for us to be here in the Majlis of Imam Ali, and it's sawab for all the donors, inshallah, that, on these nights, especially giving in the way of God, inshallah, our niyat are accepted. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Appreciate your patience. We'll be moving on to Musiba, inshallah. If you can invite Brother Muhammad Rizvi to microphone. With a lot salawat, inshallah.
Can you turn the lights off? اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Tonight we give our condolences to the Imam of our time on the second night of the martyrdom of his grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. They say that our sins strike the Imam of our time like arrows. So during this month of Ramadan, may we elevate ourselves where we no longer disappoint or hurt our Imam. Ya Ali, give us permission to visit you one day in the Haram of Najaf. So let us do tawassul to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ya Abul Hasan, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ya Hujjat Allahi ala khalqih, Ya Sayyidana wa Mawlana. إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله. Oh Ali, it's been one night since you were injured in the mosque. Ya Ali, when you wanted to defend the Prophet, you slept so comfortably in his bed. But this strike and this poison will not let you rest comfortably on these nights. We recall the time that your Sayyidah Fatima was also injured and she departed from this world. It is narrated that near the end of the life of Sayyidah Zahra, she would cry for some time. Amir al-Mu'mineen asks, why do you cry? And she replies, I cry upon the sufferings and persecutions. I cry upon the sufferings and persecutions that will befall you, Ya Ali, after me. Imam Ali replies, do not cry, for by Allah, these sufferings are nothing for me in the way of Allah. Ya Zahra, you're... Oh Zahra, your Ali spent many years without you after your death. You fought for his right, but even after you, they denied him his rights. Ya Zahra, you went to the masjid to defend Ali, and Ali went to the masjid for prayer where he attained his success. In the nights after Imam Ali was injured, it is said that a companion named Habib visited the Imam. Habib says, may your wound not be deadly and may you recover in health. The Imam answers, oh Habib, I will very soon depart from you. Habib starts to weep. Lady Kulthum hears this as well and starts to cry. Imam Ali asks Kulthum, what are you weeping for? And she says, how can I not cry while I have heard you say that you will soon leave us? The Imam says, O daughter, do not weep. By Allah, if you can only see what your father can see right now. Habib then asks, O leader of the believers, what can you see now? The Imam answers, O Habib, I can see the angels of the heavens. O Habib, I can see the angels of the heavens and the prophets standing on their feet, one after another to receive me. I can also see my dear brother Muhammad sitting near me and saying, come to us, because what you will experience is better than what is with you right now. But tomorrow, Kulthum, that night you lost your father, soon you'll lose Hassan. In Karbala, you'll lose Ali Akbar and Ali Asghar. You'll lose Qasim, you will lose On, and you will lose Muhammad. You will lose Abbas, and you will lose Hussein. But you will be beacons of strength and symbols of courage, because you are the daughters of Ali. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. صلوات.
علي مولا
هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا هدر مولا
زمزم کن به یاد حق زمزم کن به یاد حق اصل وفاز حق طلب اصل وفا بود علی اصل وفا بود علی زمزم ها بود سبب یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی یا علی چشم صفا شود اگر چشم صفا شود اگر زمزم دیده روشن است اصل چو پخته شد یقین دل به نگاه دهد ادب یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی خوش نظر قدیم و حال داده بروز لطف و بال تا تو یران کند ز شوق جانب حق مکن عجب یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی نور خدا بود علی با اهل بیت او نور خدا بود علی با اهل بیت او پاک و منزده و چار ریشه و نخل و هم رطب یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی ناصری هم بر دیار آر کند که جز علی مدح کسی کند شود گنگور زبان و لب یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی شیر خدا بود علی شیر خدا بود علی مظهر حق بود علی شاه اولیا بود علی مشکل گشا بود علی یا علی یا علی یا مولا مولا علی سایه خدا بود علی لا سیف لا بود علی سایه خدا بود علی لا سیف لا بود علی حمل فتا بود علی حمل فتا بود علی نور خدا بود علی یا علی یا علی لا مولا علی سلام ما سلام ما با جان گداز تو با جان گداز تو سلام ما سلام ما با آخرین نماز تو با آخرین نماز تو سلام ما سلام ما با امت و با صبر تو با امت و با صبر تو سلام ما سلام ما با زائرین قبر تو با زائرین قبر تو صلوات محمدی
یا علی مولا یا علی مولا یا علی مولا مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار فرق سے اونچی لہو کی دھار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے آمد پیغمبر کے لیے آمد پیغمبر کے لیے زہر میں ڈوبی ہوئی تلوار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے دار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے دار ہے کہہ رہا ہے زخم سر سے بہہ کے خون کہہ رہا ہے زخم سر سے بہہ کے خون دوسرا سجدہ بہت دشوار ہے مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ مسجد رات تک آباد تھا حق کا مکان، رات تک آباد تھا حق کا مکان، صبح کو اجڑی ہوئی سرکار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے، مسجد زخم سر ہے حیدر کرار ہے، زخم سر ہے حیدر کرار ہے، دھیمی دھیمی نبض کی رفتار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے، مسجد خون میں ہے غرق داماد نبی، خون میں ہے غرق داماد نبی، سانس کا لینا بہت دشوار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے، آہد آمد پیغمبر کے لیے، آہد آمد پیغمبر کے لیے، زہر میں ڈوبی ہوئی تلوار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار ہے، مسجد کوفہ ہے روزہ دار، یا علی مولا، 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 اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلی محمد۔ السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ، السلام علیکم یا حبیب اللہ، السلام علیکم یا محمد بن عبداللہ، السلام علیکم یا حجت اللہ، السلام علیکم یا صفت اللہ، السلام